People say that baseball is a boring sport, but did you know that each baseball game has a possibility of 12,386,344 different plays and somewhere around 10 times as many sunflower seed shells? Man Hour Nation, rise up.
Are you ready for the best damn radio show on the planet? Man Hour Nation, rise up.
You know on the beat every time, no. I would like to personally welcome you to Man Hour After Dark. Say that while I bring you the host, Mike, Buck, and Cone. You know who's coming to the sports talk than what you about to hear right here. I second that.
Go. You know that it's us when we talking about sports. Giving you facts on the field to the core. Tune in, we need the support. 1 hour too short, then listen some more. On all your stations, not dropping no music. Starts like Adidas, but Nike just do it. Down 4 in the 4th, we go for the win. Michael 2 seconds, we taking it in. Buck, Mike, and Combs, you know what's going on. Man, now we're After Dark, no LA, we the big spark. No 4th and inches won't cut short. Got the best talking, it's all sports. Buzzing more than buzzer beaters. We coming live all through your speakers, go.
And what is going on, Man Hour Nation? Welcome to the best damn sports radio show on the planet. This is Man Hour. I am your host, BC Beastie Brandon Combs. If you have not yet done so, please click like, share, and subscribe on whichever platform you are watching us on. If you're watching us on Roku TV, like what you see, you can head on over to youtube.com/Man Hour. You can subscribe for as little as $2.99 a month. Become a member of Man Hour Nation. Once you're a member, head on over to manhourradio.com. Click on the merchandise tab and get yourself some hot Man Hour gear. We have hats, we have shirts, we have hoodies, we have joggers. Hell, we got phone cases and much, much more. And now that I've tried to pay the bills, we've got a great show lined up for you guys. We're going to talk about the Washington football team and their name, their nickname. So for those of you that are listening, make sure that you chime in. Let us know what you think the best name for the Washington football team would be. At the end of the show, I'm going to look through the comments. I'm going to pick out the name that I like the best, which, if you guys know me at all, it'll be the name that probably makes me crack up the most. But I'll pick the name that's the best, and you're going to win a free Man Hour Beastie winner hat. We're also going to talk about, we're going to have Wayne G on the show. We're going to be talking to Wayne G as well. At some point, I'm going to be joined by a very, very special guest host. It's maybe not a guest host, but still a guest host nonetheless. Then we're going to talk some Antonio Brown. We're going to have the Combs eye test as well. So make sure you guys stay tuned. First thing I definitely want to hit on, though, is that Washington football team. Washington football team has announced that on February 2nd, it is going to unveil its new team name. Lots of team names are out there. I've heard the Red Wolves. I've heard the Red Tails. I've heard I think football team is still an option. Washington football team is still an option out there. It's probably the worst one out of all of them. There's a lot of different possibilities out there. And for those of you who don't know, they are changing their name because their original name was offensive to some people. And people felt like it was offensive towards Native American. Mostly rich white people who didn't have anything else to argue about or complain about. But nonetheless, I digress. It was definitely something that they wanted to change. They felt they needed to change, so they did it. Now, I just ask you to imagine this. Imagine living in a world where the Washington football team has a name, the Redskins at the time, that is considered offensive and they are forced to change it. However, that same team whose name was offensive is owned by a man who pimped out his cheerleaders and forced them to pose for a nude calendar, degrades women, and has been known to be a little racist. Yet he's not forced to sell the team. That's the world we're living in right now, folks. That's the world we're living in. And I don't know about you, but common sense tells me that doesn't make very much sense. I don't understand the whole, we've got to change the name of teams. The Cleveland Indians went to, now they're the Cleveland Guardians. I'll tell you, whatever the Washington football team's name is, it's not going to be worse than the Cleveland Guardians. I'll tell you that much. But if you guys have a name that you like, maybe it's a funny name, maybe it's a realistic name, let us know in the chat. I'll vote for the best name at the end of the show, and we'll pull a winner. Winner will win a Beastie winter hat. My vote was for my name all along. I've called them the Washington NRA, which stands for Washington Not Redskins Anymore. I think that would be the best name. I did see something on Facebook. A buddy of mine posted, said, hey, why don't you just keep it the Washington Redskins? Change the logo to a red potato. Can't offend anybody then, right? You're a vegetable. I don't see why you couldn't go with that. To me, I might have more respect for it that way. I get it. Some people watching this, you were offended by the name too. You felt they needed the name change. I'm good with that. Look, I respect everybody's opinion. I respect the way everybody goes about everything. People are talking today about whether they're vaccinated or not vaccinated. Somebody got all hot and bothered because I made a post explaining why I decided to be vaccinated, even though I don't necessarily believe with all the COVID stuff. They got all hot and bothered thinking I was trying to coax them into getting vaccinated. But we can agree to disagree, right? We can agree to be on different wavelengths when it comes to some of this stuff. And when you tell me that a team that is owned by a man doing all the things that I just mentioned, when you tell me that the name of the football team is more offensive than what he's doing, I've got to question whether or not I'm going to listen about your moral compass. I've got to question whether or not I'm going to take your opinion seriously, because it seems to me like maybe you're not worried about the right stuff. Just throwing that out there. Will a name change, though, actually change the culture of the Washington football team? I mean, this is a team that has just been absolutely brutal over the years. This team has just been, I mean, they've been tough to watch, and they've got a pretty damn good fan base out in Washington. This team shows up, or these fans show up, I should say. They pack the stadium every week. They've watched, I don't know how many bad seasons. I mean, and this is coming from a Bears fan. This Washington fan base deserves to have a good product on the field. And they just don't have that right now. Hell, their best running back over the last 15 years or so is headed off to 6 months in prison for being a part of a fraud scheme. And that's Clinton Portis. I mean, you talk about, players that have gotten in trouble. You talk about coaching staffs that haven't been the greatest. The owner I mean, we already talked about him. We know what he is. Biggest scumbag of owners in professional sports, if you ask me. Because other sports have had scumbag owners too, but they've done something about it. When the Los Angeles Clippers owner was caught for some racial stuff and caught doing some stuff that people didn't really agree with, and rightfully so, they forced him to sell. They said, "You're out as owner." They came together as a league. The owners banded together. They don't do that in the NFL. I don't know why. I mean, I kind of know why. The NFL doesn't really care. And we established that, I think, yesterday's show. That the only thing the NFL cares about is the almighty dollar. They care about how much money you're putting in their pockets. They care about how many people are showing up and getting put into the stands. They care about playoff spots and whether or not, their viewership is going to go down. They let players play with DUIs and players play after beating their kids in the genitalia area and making them bleed. And they let people play after, running dog fighting rings. And the NFL does not care. They don't care. And that's why when people talk about how Colin Kaepernick getting blackballed in the NFL because of his political stance, you're out of your mind. Colin Kaepernick didn't get signed because Colin Kaepernick was trash after his first 2 seasons in the league. His numbers dwindled every single year in the league. He had 1 good season. They went to the Super Bowl. And after that, they couldn't do anything. The NFL doesn't care. They don't care about They don't care about their players. They don't care about your agendas. They care about money. And that's all that they care about. So that's why they continue to do the things they do. So no, I don't think a name change will change the culture. I don't think a name change matters. I think a name change is coming to bring new ideologies about the team and about what they are, and to kind of hide behind it. Right? Just like they did. The Washington Redskins scandal with Dan Snyder this season resulted in a coach that never coached for them and was coaching another team at the time to lose his job, and everything went away after that. Did you not notice that? Everything went away. Everything went away after Chucky lost his job. They're like, all right, he got fired. That's all that matters. Not the fact that Dan Snyder was doing all of this stuff. Not the fact that the organization did this to their cheerleaders. Haven't heard a peep about it since. Haven't heard a peep about it since. They found their fall guy. They diverted the attention, and everything kind of slid behind it. It's crazy. It's crazy to me. Alpha Rob, I see you in the chat. What's going on, Alpha Rob? Thanks for chiming in, buddy. Appreciate you all the time. Michelle, I see you in the chat. Appreciate you. Love you. Buck, I see you. Drew, I see you guys. I see you guys lighting it up. I'm definitely going to get to some of your comments here in a few minutes. Talking about the Washington football team and their name change. And how the name change really is just a diversion for everything that they did. And they just keep hiding behind it. I don't get how they keep getting away with it. I don't understand. The NFL all the time, and we let it go as fans because we love the game. We love watching football. We don't want all the drama. We don't want to worry about but this is the reality of the situation. But we were so worried about the name change. We were so worried about the logo that we let all of this stuff go. We let all of this stuff slide. And I don't get it. I don't get it. It doesn't make much sense to me. The things that we worry about. Let's get to some of these comments here. See, Alpha Rob says, or Buck says, Alex Smith led them to that Super Bowl. He got benched for Blaine Gabbert. End of story. Alex Smith did lead them to that Super Bowl. And then Kaepernick took over. And Kaepernick, he was all right. Kaepernick was good that year. You got to give him that. He was good. His quarterback record that year, I believe, was like 10-2 or something like that because he took over early. Kaepernick was good that year. He was terrible after that, but he was good that year. Michelle says, love you more. Buck says, whoa, don't take my man. Guys, easy. You ain't got to fight over me. I mean, you can, but you ain't got to. The NFL got everyone to look the other way. Look what Gruden said. Don't look over here at us. 110% agree with you, Alpha Rob. 110% agree with you. And everything went away after that. It was the biggest smokescreen ever. And everything just went away. Almost makes you feel like, something's going on in other places in real life, right? Like the government. Maybe a election that wasn't exactly done fairly or honestly. And then all of a sudden we got this disease that we have to Never mind. I digress, as we just got demonetized. Michelle says he's worth the fight, Buck. I don't agree. I'm not worth that fight. You might think I am. I'm not worth that fight. But keep going. I'll take it. Join us every Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. on Big X Sports Radio on our YouTube page as well. Drew says, howdy, Rob. Alpha Rob says, hi to Drew. Buck says, left turn for the win. That's what we do here. If you're just joining us for the first time, we are live, raw, and uncut. It's kind of what we do. And the best thing about this show, the best thing about me, the best thing about Buck, the best thing about Tori when he's on, Soup Boss, Wyatt every once in a while, is that we are not bound by the same politics that people on other networks are bound by. We don't subscribe to the notion that we have to pander to the people. We don't subscribe to the notion that we've got to just tell you what you want to hear. We subscribe to the notion that we need to tell you the truth, whether you want to hear it or not. We tell you the truth. And that's what we do. If there's somebody out there in the sports world that is not doing good, we're going to tell you he's not doing good. We're going to tell you how bad he is. When there's somebody in the sports world who does something stupid and gets away with it, we're going to blow it up. Dan Snyder, Nate Hobbs. Nate frickin' Hobbs. Still don't understand how you get a DUI and are allowed to play the same damn week. Just doesn't make much sense to me. Alpha Rob says, hey, Combs, I heard California has a new thing now called Flu-Rona. Is that the Omicron variant? Alpha Rob says, that's why you guys are the best out there. You tell it like it is. Appreciate it, Alpha Rob. Appreciate the support. We do what we can. Look, these live shows are a lot of fun, especially when we get to do them together. Like, so when it's me and Buck or me and Tori or Buck and Tori or the three of us or myself and Soup Boss, we have a lot of fun with it. These solo shows are tough. They're hard to do, but I enjoy it, and I appreciate all the comments that come through that give me something to talk about other than what I have already planned. It gives me, other opinions that I can go off of and give you guys the content that you actually like. So I appreciate everything. I appreciate all the support. Thank you, Alpha Rob, for the kind words. Love it. We love to hear that other people like the content, that we're actually something you like to listen to, something you like to interact with. Is this something that you would listen to when you're on your car ride home, on your car ride to work, something when you're traveling, something you would throw on and be like, hey, what did these guys say today? That's all we're looking for. So that's why we always say, if you're watching us on any platform, just click that like button, click that share button, click subscribe. All of those things are free to you, but they mean the world to us. So keep doing what you guys are doing. We appreciate all the love. We appreciate all the support. This thing has grown exponentially in just the 1 year that we've been on as a show. And I couldn't love you guys for it more. All you guys that have been loyal from the start, Drew, Alpha Rob, we've got a couple guys who aren't in here anymore right now. They're in here. They're just not here right now. Javier, who's usually on with us. We get a couple people I'm forgetting probably. Trent Mason, Rock. We get you in here every once in a while. So appreciate you guys showing up all the time. And when we come back, we're going to be joined by none other than Wayne G. So we're going to get to our first break. Stay with us. 2 minutes. And we are back. Welcome back to the best damn sports radio show on the planet. This is Man Hour. I'm your host, BC Brandon Combs. Drew says, phallic symbols on memorabilia shelf. Nice, Beastie. Which symbols are you talking about? There's so many logos back there. It's ridiculous. I'm not sure which one you're talking about, Drew, but hit me up. Let me know. But let's get to it. It's time to welcome that guy that I've known for a long time. He is that guy because every time you talk about him, they're like, oh, that guy. He is Wayne G. Wayne, what's going on, buddy?
What's up? I'm excited to be that guy and be on the show. And I think we've known each other long enough, and you've known enough people who've known me and have talked privately to you about me. And the reality is nobody gets happier than when I'm wrong about something. It's like they have like a national holiday.
Wait, look, when you're wrong about something, I enjoy it. And I'll give you credit where credit is due. You were right about one thing this year, and that is how good your New England Patriots have been.
Yeah, and it wasn't like a guess or a homer thing. It was like I looked at who was coming back from COVID. I looked at who they signed, and it just made sense.
No, you supported your theory. A lot of people thought that it was still just you trying to, get your homer pick in there, but you supported your theory. You were right on. You called it from the start. I didn't see it happening. They didn't win the division. Well, they haven't yet won the division. I don't think they're going to win the division because I think the Bills are going to steamroll the Jets this weekend. But it was still a great pick, and so kudos for that. Did you happen to hear any part of the first 20 minutes of the show before you hopped in?
No, just actually coming on. I was actually going to give you some advice because I noticed you got the pop screen there, but you have some really hard plosives when you're talking, and I think maybe you need like a nice, dynamic microphone like the Shure SM7B.
Ooh, maybe my screen isn't really working too well. Maybe I didn't have it up high enough. But yeah, I'm always up for new microphones. Anytime I get a chance to spend money on equipment, as hopefully Michelle's not listening anymore, but any chance I get to spend more money on equipment, I will certainly do it. We were talking in the first 20 minutes of the show. Well, I was talking in the first 20 minutes of the show about the Washington football team name change. And I had brought up the same thing that I've brought up many a times to people that, be that, well, if you didn't think that they needed to change the name, then you're racist and you don't understand and blah, 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 blah. And you know me. I mean, I'm the furthest thing from a racist person. I don't have that type of stuff isn't in me to be. But one of the things that drives me nuts is that we were so bothered by the name and by the logo that they needed to change it, but not bothered by the antics of Dan Snyder enough to make him change the fact that he's the owner of the NFL. Now people will say, oh, well, you can't just force somebody to sell. The NBA did it. MLB has done it. The NFL can absolutely force somebody to sell. The NFL just doesn't care. And that's where I go with that. I just don't feel like, in a world where we're worried about logos and what the name of a team is, whether it's the Cleveland Guardians now or the Washington, whatever they're going to be, my vote, I had a buddy who said he should just keep the name Redskins and change the logo to a red potato. So, that'd be the ultimate slap in the face, wouldn't it? Keep the name on a technicality.
I think it'd be a lot of people making jokes, calling them the Washington Potatoes or something like that.
Yeah, but you know what? You could get away with it, I guess, right?
I guess you could if you really want to go that route. But no, you're 100% right. I think that the NFL doesn't care. And the best example of that, if you want to talk about hypocrisy, I'm sure we can find it everywhere in the league. But really, look at Josh Gordon, who smoked some weed and his career is over at the age of 24 or 25. And then you've got Adrian Peterson beats the hell out of a 2-year-old and gets a 1-year suspension.
Yeah, or Nate Hobbs, who gets a DUI on Monday and is playing in a game on Sunday. Those are things that I love seeing all the time. How about guys who get to kick women and beat them and still come back the next year? Tyreek Hill, Kareem Hunt. So I mean, and the list goes on. I mean, I talked about it yesterday, but you had a Ray Lewis who had a body in his trunk at the start of his career, and they put a yellow jacket on that guy. So hey. Here we are. We draw the moral compass at the name of a football team.
That's right.
Yeah. So, all right, you're here for your normal segment. I know it's just me right now. At some point, I do have another host joining me. But what do we got tonight?
Well, it's funny that you mentioned the Washington football team because my number one, that's debatable topic. And I posted this in the Man Hour group on Facebook, so you guys need to join the groups here. It's a group. You can go in there, you post your sports stuff, and you get to interact with the hosts and the guest hosts and everybody else. But I posted a picture of Jeff Foxworthy, and on it I wrote, if you called or in my Jeff Foxworthy impression, he'd be like, if you call them the Washington Redskins, but you don't say the Tennessee Oilers, you might be a racist.
Oh God.
And this came about because I did see somebody, and again, I understand this in like 21, 22, right? When you go to 2022, how many times are we going to write 2021 on checks or on some sort of document? I get it. Okay. It takes a little while to kind of acclimate. But at this point, we've had a full season, and I've seen people say, like, I'm still going to call them the Redskins forever.
That's why I just posted this comment by Alpha Rob.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, are they going to be the Tennessee Oilers? Is that, you don't say the Titans, you say the Oilers? You say the Charlotte Bobcats in basketball, not the Hornets, the Pelicans. You say, or the New Orleans Hornets. And then you have the Washington Expos, right? It's not the Washington Nationals, it's the Washington Expos, because we can't change our names. We're always going to go by what we've always been. Otherwise, we're going to the Carolina Whalers.
Those teams made moves out of the state, though, when they changed their names. Those teams made moves, not the Charlotte. Well, yeah, the Charlotte Hornets changed when they moved to New Orleans. They were the New Orleans Hornets, and then New Orleans got a team back. That's when they became Charlotte got a team back. That's when they became the Bobcat. Like, those teams moved. This team didn't move. This team was kind of forced, if you will, to change its name. It's a little bit of a different scenario. I get what you're saying.
Charlotte didn't move. Charlotte Bobcats became the Charlotte Hornets without moving their stadium.
Well, right, because they were originally the Hornets, but then they moved to New Orleans. That franchise moved to New Orleans. They were the New Orleans Hornets. When they became the Pelicans, the Hornets, Charlotte was like, oh, we could take our name back. And they became the Charlotte Hornets again.
Yeah. Right. I mean, we're splitting hairs, right? I mean,
I guess. I mean, I think it's a hugely different scenario, though, isn't it?
It is. That's what makes it racist, right? Because you're saying
what?
Because of the scenario surrounding the team name, which is people being offended by the racist nature of the name, I'm going to keep calling them that name because of that. I'm not calling them that. I'm not saying I'm going to keep calling them that because that's what I've known them as my entire life. Otherwise, I would call them the Tennessee Oilers. I'm calling them that because I want to say, ha, 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 you guys think this is racist? I'm going to keep saying it.
No, they're saying it because they like people like Alpha Rob, people like myself, who just believe that it was stupid that they changed their name. It would have been the Redskins, anyway. Look, there's been field changes. You look at US Cellular Field or Guaranteed Rate Field now where the White Sox play here in Chicago. I still call it Comiskey. People are like, "Oh, where you going to catch a game tonight?" Yeah, I'm going down to Comiskey. Even though it's had 3 different names since it was Comiskey, I still call it the same name because that's what I grew up knowing. The football team, look, I call them the Washington football team. I joke around, call them the NRA, the not Redskins anymore. There are certain things, but I think the premise behind the name change was stupid. I don't think the fact that they're changing the name, I'll call them whatever name they decide to call them. They could be the Washington Foxworthies for all I care. Like I will call them whatever the hell their team name is. I just don't like the premise behind it. I mean, I don't think everybody that's saying, we're still going to call them the Redskins is necessarily doing it because of racial undertone. There probably are. You're right. I mean, there probably is a good chunk of people who are going to call them that because of, the fact that the racial undertone, and they're like, screw that. I'll say whatever I want to say. I'm still going to call them the Redskins. And that part, to your point, that's a dumb thing to do. But there are a lot of people like myself, and I'm sure Alpha Rob is of the same ilk, is that we just think the premise of the name change is stupid. So we're going to make fun of it. And we're going to joke around, and we're going to, call them whatever we want to call them from time to time. But when it comes down to it, when we're talking to friends and we're like, hey, what happened to the Washington game? Oh, well, whatever their team name is, say it's the Red Wolves. The Red Wolves won today. The Red Wolves beat the Titans. It'll go, but just I think right now it's just we're in a time right now in our country where everything needs to be an argument. Everything.
Well, especially because I think that there's a war on being PC, right? Like,
yeah.
and I don't understand it. Like, I don't care. Like, I say happy holidays, not to go down a whole nother road, but I say happy holidays, right? And that's and listen, if you say Merry Christmas, I'm not offended that you said that. I'm like, okay, cool.
Right.
You too. But I say happy. That's what I say. I say happy holidays. And there are those people that when I say happy holidays, they go, it's Merry Christmas. And they're like, yes, right? And those are the Redskins fans I'm talking about, the racist Redskins fans. They're like, it's always going to be the Redskins.
And you know what I feel? All of those people, you know where you can find them on Sundays? At church in a pew. those are the same people that you can find, because those, and it's just so ironic that a lot of these arguments that you have, a lot of these things that you go through, most of this stuff, most of the people arguing, most of the people complaining are some of the biggest hypocrites in the world. You know what I mean? Like people are complaining about, oh, you're privileged and blah, 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 as they tweet from their iPhone while sipping on a Starbucks. Like it's just not people. A lot of people will argue things that they don't understand, and they'll just argue it just to argue it because they want to argue. And that's a lot of what our country has become. That's kind of a lot of what our sports is starting to become as well. I don't know if you heard about the Hub Arkish thing with going on with freaking Aaron Rodgers right now, but this is a writer who basically is one of the fathers of Pro Football Weekly. And he said, you know what? And he's got to vote for the MVP. And he said, hey, I'm not going to vote for this guy. He's a jerk. He doesn't care about his team. He's not a good person. And then Aaron Rodgers fired back. Well, then you shouldn't get a vote. And look, I get where Aaron Rodgers is coming back from it. And he called the guy a bum, and Aaron Rodgers is like, well, he shouldn't be calling me names. He's a bum, and you called him a name now. So now your argument's invalid, for one. For two, he's kind of right, because look, it's an MVP vote, not the most valuable person who you like vote. But this also would not be ever the first time that a sports writer has casted a vote based on a personal opinion of a player, right? I mean, if that was the case, Barry Bonds would have been in the Hall of Fame first ballot.
Which he absolutely should be.
Oh,
and it's a crime that he's not. And I don't even want to get into taking away votes, which I'm all for in Major League Baseball in the Hall of Fame. I think I've gone over my whole plan on taking away people's votes, which is if a player gets 85% or more of the vote, and you're one of the 15% who didn't vote for them, you lose your vote forever. So
I don't know why there should be that big of a vote anyway, right? There should just be a 5-person committee, and it should be made up of players who played in the game prior. Maybe even if you want to make it players who are already in the Hall of Fame, because to be honest with you, you're either a Hall of Famer or you're not a Hall of Famer. Yeah, what if I'm not a Hall of Famer the first time around, and then the 10th time comes around, why am I a Hall of Famer now? Because I'm the best out of all the players that are behind me, and there's nobody else who deserves to be in the Hall of Fame? Like, you're either a Hall of Famer or you're not. Plain simple.
We need a reason for sports writers to go around choking each other's bishops. So
I don't disagree with you there. I definitely don't disagree with you. Sports writers are insane. They hold grudges, and it's one of those things. Like hell, hold it up to a fan vote. Like, I mean, right? Because at that point, I mean, we'd have guys like God, I don't even know. Tuffy Rhodes would probably be a Hall of Famer after his 3 home run game on opening day for the Cubs. All the Cubs fans would have voted for him that day.
And I think, I know I like to go off of these little sidetracks, but
yeah, me too.
I think like one of my favorite is beating the bishop is one of my favorite synonyms. However, you know what my favorite one for that particular act is? Interrogating the prisoner.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite. I actually, you know what I call it? I'll tell everybody a little TMI for the crowd here. What I call it is taking my talents to South Beach.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm not even going to go there. Bucks says all rookie quarterbacks should sit their first year. That is a horrible take. It was a horrible take when you said it live. It's a horrible take now. You're an idiot. Anyway.
All right. Hey, you want to jump into number 2? This is one I think that you and I have discussed at a different sport, but we're going to bring it into football. And
All right.
that is with Cooper Kupp set to potentially become the all-time or the single season record holder for receptions and receiving yards. I've seen people talking about asterisks next to the thing. And I've said, and I know that you and I have had this conversation, asterisks don't belong in sports. They don't. I said the one maybe exception you have is the 1919 Cincinnati Reds because the the White Sox intentionally threw that World Series. But other than that, I don't care if it's 14 games, 16 games, 17 games, eventually 18, possibly 26 down the road. I don't care. A record's a record. Enough with the asterisk talk. It's stupid.
No, I completely agree with you there for once. I think that asterisks in sports are dumb. Look, sports evolve. Sports make changes. Sports do. If you want, you would have to put an asterisk basically next to every record in the record book if you wanted to put an asterisk there. Okay, so if you're going to tell me, there are a lot of people out there who say I'll always acknowledge Babe Ruth as the home run king. Well, why? Well, because he played at a time where they could have pitched around him. He didn't really have what are you talking about? He also didn't play in an era where guys were throwing freaking 110-mile-an-hour fastballs with an 80-mile-an-hour changeup in a 45-mile-an-hour knuckleball after that. Like, he didn't live in a time where steroids were a thing. He didn't live in a time where cocaine was a big thing. Like, everything's an asterisk, right? Everything could be. You could look at Ricky Henderson's, stolen bases. All right, let's put an asterisk next to that because every time he got a base, he stole a base, and not everybody else had that opportunity.
Right, is where do we draw the line? And I know with the Babe Ruth thing, the argument was that he played 154 game season. Maris played 162 game season, and Maris didn't break the record until his 159th game or 160th game, something like that. But like I said, where do you draw that line? I mean, Jim Brown ran for 1,863 yards in a 14-game season, right?
Yeah.
So I guess then Eric Dickerson's not the all-time leader. Asterisk, Eric Dickerson, Or how about the fact that Jim Brown ran for 12,000 yards in only 118 games, where Walter Payton ran in 190 games. So asterisk for Walter Payton. I mean, it's Emmitt Smith now, but, I'm just saying, we're going to put asterisk because they played more games. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Let's just get rid of the asterisks.
Yeah, no, there should not be asterisks in any record book. There should not be any, you can't. And that's my biggest argument. I know we talked about it already, but not to always bring it up, but the steroid era, to me, people are like, oh, well, you put them in, just put asterisks. No. You can't take away what these guys did because of the era that they played in. That's stupid. Baseball knew about it. It's not like this was a handful of guys who were cheating. It was everybody was doing it. Baseball knew about it and made billions of dollars. No asterisk, no separate wing in the Hall of Fame, no anything. Put these guys in the Hall of Fame and stop being stupid. And these sports writers that are out there, freaking stop it. Oh, we're going to put asterisks next to this, or we're not going to vote for this guy, or we're not going to vote for that guy. Then take everybody out of the Hall of Fame because it's not the Hall of Fame. It's who you like the most.
As you know, the TNT I like to throw on that fire is you let Nolan Ryan in the Hall of Fame and he was on steroids. So why not let Barry Bonds in?
Yeah. The one that I always bring up is you let great, now I'm going to forget his name. But you let God, what the hell is his name? The racist from the early 1900s that you let in.
Oh, Ty
Cobb. You let Ty Cobb into the damn Hall of Fame, but I'm sorry, you throw the moral compass at putting a needle in your arm. Stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Even just like I said, even just sticking with the needles, Cal Ripken was on steroids. I mean, there's no way you play that many consecutive games without a little juice. So, and like I said, Nolan Ryan, the whole thing, Nolan Ryan was throwing 102 miles per hour when he was 45. His arms would have fallen off by that point. But, a little bit of juice gets you a long way.
I made that suggestion last night that because it's my favorite one to bring up because nobody could ever fathom the fact that Cal Ripken used steroids. There's no way you played that many games in a 162 game season in Major League Baseball without some nagging injury, and there's no way that you got through it without a little bit of help. People talk. Oh well, you know what? The other one I like to bring up too is Ken Griffey Jr. Oh, he didn't use steroids. Really? Because right after they started testing him, he got really, really fat. He gained so much weight after they started testing for steroids that, I mean, where did it just come from? He just got old?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like people just don't think about things realistically. They think about things from the light that they like to see everything in. And it cracks me up. And the face that I got yesterday, you know, when I talked about it with another guest that we have, Graham, he's like, "Oh, I don't know about that." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I bet you don't, because you don't want to. That's Cal Ripken Jr. It's, you know, you don't want to think about players like that were doing it too. I feel like it was a level playing field all the way through. Everybody was juicing. Roger Clemens was juicing. Everybody was juicing.
I like the I don't know about that comment because it reminds me, I think, of Louis C.K. I was watching his new special or listening to his new special, and he was talking about how he told a friend, he's like, "Oh, you know, Jesus was Jewish." And his friend was like, "Oh, I don't think that's right." And he goes, "Well, it doesn't really matter what you think because it already happened." So,
yeah. Excuse me. That one got me a little bit.
All right. So the other NFL one here I have, obviously, I've talked about this on my show and your show as well. Every year stories come out around the draft, right? About these teams asking guys, you know, do you like to touch other men and things like that, you know, and like, you know, is your mother a crack dealer or, you know, I mean, things, and it comes out every year. There's some new story about it, right? And the NFL has come out and said that they are now cracking down. If they hear that a team is asking any prospect questions of that nature, those teams are going to lose anywhere from a first to a fourth round pick.
Right. Look, the NFL, again, and I can't stress this enough, they prove it time and time again. They do a great job of smoke screening because, look, as fans, we don't want to see any of it. We don't care. We just want to watch football, right? Our teams are playing on Sunday. We just want to watch football. So we let a lot of the stuff go. But the NFL doesn't care. We watched a replay of a guy a couple weeks ago. I saw it on a TikTok, actually, where they slowed it down, and the guy had a blinking red light underneath his socks. He was wearing a damn ankle bracelet. Playing in an NFL game. You couldn't find anybody else to run the ball. You're playing in an NFL game wearing an ankle bracelet. The NFL doesn't care. What the NFL did was put out a rule out there where if anybody decides to come out with the fact that they were asked this question, now they can say, "Well, we told you so, and this is going to be your punishment." And I guarantee that it will come out. Somebody will say that it happened, and that team will probably lose a fourth round pick. They're not going to take away anybody's first round pick. They're not going to take away anybody's second round pick. They're not going to make that statement because the NFL does not care. They don't care about its players. They don't care about its fans. I don't even think they care about their owners. They care about their money, how much money they can make. That's all the NFL cares about. Nothing more, nothing less.
Well, no, and I think it's bad for business to ask questions like that and have it come out as a big story around the draft, which is one of the biggest extravaganzas that they have every year. I think that, you know, you really got to cut down on that. I would love to see a team lose a first round pick. I would love to see, you know, the Green Bay Packers ask a prospect about whether or not he thought about pimping out his mom or something. And
if it's the Packers, I would love it too. I mean, it's the Packers.
I'll just pick the team randomly, but like and lose a first round pick. I would love to see that happen.
Yeah, no, you know what? I would love to see it too, because that would actually mean that the NFL was doing something about something that shouldn't be happening. But we both know that's not going to happen. Right? I mean, they're going to lose maybe a fourth round pick, or they'll be like, "Oh, well, you know what? We can't corroborate the stories. The person said that it happened. The owner said that it didn't happen. So what we're going to do is we're going to find the team." But there's not going to be any draft picks taken. They're going to find some way around it.
Well, you know, that will lead to those. Then that will lead to the interview process being videotaped, and those videotapes are going to have to be saved for NFL review, so that if an accusation does come out, they can go to the tape, and if the tape has been destroyed or lost, then it will be just guilty by not having the evidence.
Shouldn't that already happen?
Oh,
I mean, this is the NFL. This is a $1 billion organization. I work for a nationwide construction company. And you know what we do if we have to talk to one of our employees, or if we have to write somebody up, or if we have to have a discussion with one of them? We make sure somebody else is in the room. We make sure somebody else is there to be a witness to what was said, what happened, what went down. And we don't make billions. We're not a $1 billion corporation. Like, we're smart enough to cover our own ass. The NFL isn't.
Well, I think when you're talking about having a witness, I mean, if your general manager is the one asking the questions and your witness is the head of scouting, it's still kind of a conflict of interest. Whereas I'm saying have actual videotape, and those videotapes have to be saved.
Yeah, no, I'm 100% on board on that. I don't think the NFL. I don't think the NFL will ever care enough to do that, to implement it, to make it a thing. Because if they haven't already done that, then that's a problem in itself. And this should have been a thing a long time ago for organizations to cover their own ass. Like, it should have been something that happened a long time ago, and the fact that it doesn't already happen is kind of surprising to me.
Surprising, but doesn't mean that it's not going to. I mean, obviously, I always use the examples of things like nobody in the NFL has ever thrown a forward pass until the first person threw a forward pass. So,
right.
It's, eventually it can happen.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you. I think that's just another thing that shows that the NFL just doesn't really care. You know what I mean? Because it's not like this would be the first time anybody would ever come out and say this, right? It's not like the first time that there's ever been a team, like, let's take the Washington, not Redskins anymore, for example, right? Dan Snyder's throwing in some of those questions when he's interviewing players. Maybe if they had a closer eye on what their owners were doing and what their teams were doing, we wouldn't have half the stuff that Daniel Snyder getting away with.
Well, you need the right group to get upset about it. So that is what will inflict change. Now, in this case, we have the Native American group that attacked the Redskins, and that's why the name's being changed. But it's been going on for a long time. They finally got the power of like 2.5 million people behind it. But
was it a Native American group, or was it a bunch of rich white Karens drinking Starbucks sitting on Twitter?
That's where I'm going with it. So first of all, it is a Native American group that represents over 2 million Native Americans. But
okay,
they have the backing of white liberals, right? And so that's where you get that big group. Just like I tell people when you go to the movies, right? If you want to have a $500 million, $600 million movie, and you make it for women, you need to get the men interested. You can't have a hit without men. You can have a hit without appealing to women. Look at Die Hard, look at Terminator.
Yeah.
But men are the one that pay for the movies. So if you really want to make a women's movie do well, you have to make it appeal to the men somehow. So the same thing here with the NFL. If you really want to make people upset, you have to get the people upset who aren't part of the target. So like if you're asking people, are you a homosexual? It can't just be the LGBTQ community getting upset. It has to be all the people who support that community getting upset too.
Yeah, and I get that. I think that that's something that you can get behind for sure. And it goes to show that no matter what the cause is, people, if the right people get behind it, the right people want to make a noise about it, then something, can invoke change. Like, have you heard about the fan that's suing the Giants and the Jets for playing in New Jersey and not in New York? $2 billion in monetary damages and $4 billion in punitive damages, with legal claims against the two teams, including false advertising and deceptive practices.
Yeah, but it's getting this wrong. I mean, we have the Angels, who became the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim because they play in Anaheim, but they wanted Los Angeles in their name. I mean, it is what it is.
It's one of those things where it just cracks me up, and it just goes to show that if you get somebody who's just got a bug up their butt about something, they can go ahead and make a stink about it, and that's what's happening now. So I get it. I don't subscribe to those notions. I like to describe to what I consider to be common sense and looking at things from both sides of the fence and asking questions and hearing two sides to every story, sometimes three. So I like to make up opinions based off of what I know, and what I believe. So some people don't always go that route.
Well, I got one more for you. The last one, the movie one, because I am from the Recasted podcast. We do movies where we recast movies that are at least 20 years old with modern day actors and actresses. We most recently did Ocean's 11. So check that out on Good Pods, and you can see who we picked. You should vote for mine, not Jesse's, because Jesse's is not good. And the my movie topic today is, we had talked about when it first came out that Robert Pattinson was cast as Batman to be in the Batman. When I first heard the word, like the minute the words hit my eardrums, I said, that is an amazing choice. That is incredible. What? Yes. And everyone's like, are you sure? We're talking
I
about
vomited in my mouth.
They're like, we're talking about Edward from Twilight, right? And I'm like, this guy is going to absolutely crush the role of Batman. And now we've seen the trailers come out, and he looks phenomenal in these trailers. And I'm going to double down tonight. That's debatable. Robert Pattinson will go down as the best Batman ever.
Oh God! Look, I'm not a DC fan, but I am a big Batman. Is my favorite of all the superhero movies. Of all of the movies, of all the it's not Superman, it's not Spider-Man, it's Batman. I love the Batman movies. Dark Knight, when Heath Ledger was the Joker, he was phenomenal in that movie. I'm afraid that you're right, though. I've watched the trailers for this, man, and I've got to see it. When I first heard who was playing Batman, I was like, you've got to be like, if he takes off the bat suit and he is glimmering and he's got freaking glitter all over his body, I'm going to freak the hell out. But this actually looks really, really good. I kind of like what it seems like is going to be a twist on the Bruce Wayne character, right? It almost seems like he's playing a dark and depressed Bruce Wayne, doesn't it?
Well, I think that's what has come out, is that he's playing it almost as though he's suffering from some sort of like a mental disorder, whether it's depression or whatever. It's kind of like Joaquin Phoenix Joker. Like he's got some sort of issue that he's suffering from as Batman. So it's a little bit more, I think, rooted in reality. Like even the villains, the Penguin and the Riddler, looks like they're going to be villains in it. They seem more normal, even though they're villains. They're not cartoonish and over the top. And that got me thinking. Somebody said, I said, this movie does well, which it will. Then the Joker has to be in the next one, because you've already used 3 villains in this movie. So the Joker would have to be in the next one. And somebody said, who would you cast as the Joker in this universe, in the Robert Pattinson Batman universe? Ooh. And I said Crispin Glover. Because he has that kind of dark, sinister.
I almost feel like whoever does it is kind of set up for failure, because I believe that everybody's going to be, they're just going to automatically have that opinion. You know how when sometimes you watch like a remake of a movie and you go into it knowing it's not going to be as good as the first one. So no matter what you see on the screen, it's not going to be as good as the first one. I kind of feel like that's what anybody is going to go into thinking whenever somebody gets to play the next Joker. I'm trying to think of somebody who could play that part. You know, obviously Joaquin Phoenix played the Joker in The Joker.
I didn't like his Joker, though.
Yeah, I didn't really care for his Joker either, although I feel like that might be the route they go. I do like Joaquin Phoenix as an actor.
Mm-hmm. I think it's an unpopular opinion. I think that Jared Leto's Joker was actually really good. He was just misused in those movies. I thought they used him poorly, but Jared Leto's a great actor too, and I thought he did a really good job as Joker. But there's no way they're going back to him, so it's going to be somebody new. And the first person that came to mind was Cillian Murphy. I think would be amazing as the Joker. However, he's already played Scarecrow in Batman Begins, so I don't think they would bring him back as the Joker in this. So that's why I went with Crispin Glover.
Yeah, you know, I'm thinking. I'm trying to think of some actors that would play this part good. Like a Willem Dafoe. Willem Dafoe comes to mind.
He's a little too cartoony over the top, though, for that. Like I said, this is very dark and rooted in like reality, and he seems a little too crazy out there. I don't know. I guess depending on what Joker you go with. Here's one that'd be crazy. I think this would be amazing if they did this. You would probably have to pay out the a-hole to get this guy, but because he never does movies like this. This is a guy who's maybe the greatest living actor today, and he doesn't do these types of movies. Daniel Day-Lewis as the Joker would be incredible.
Yeah, that would be a good one. You know who's the guy that I'm thinking of from Skyfall? What the hell was his name?
Oh, Javier Bardem.
Yeah,
he's good in anything.
Yeah, I think he would be good as a Joker. He plays that dark character very well. I think I'd go with Javier Bardem if I was casting it. If I was on a recasted podcast, which, by the way, I've asked you to be on Man Hour a bunch of times. You never once asked me to do a recasted with you.
Oh, let's do it. What's your favorite movie?
Oh, you know my favorite movie, The Sandlot.
Oh, yeah, but we don't do kid actors.
Oh. Let me think about that. I'll get back to you. We'll see if we can get one up. And we'll definitely do something. Why don't you tell everybody where they can find you?
On Good Pods is ideal because Good Pods, you can actually go through and give 5 stars to every single episode rather than just for the show in general, which is really cool. You can interact with the hosts on Good Pods. So I'm a big Good Pods guy. Obviously, we're on Spotify, we're on iTunes, all that stuff. But if you can go on Good Pods, download it on your phone. It's a free app. You get every single podcast that exists on there. You can listen to Man Hour on there. You can listen to Rogan, whatever you like to listen to. It's on Good Pods. But we're on Good Pods, and it is Recasted 2.0. And like I said, let us know what your favorite movies are. We can recast them. I'm really interested to do one with you and see what we come up with.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be really excited to do one. So I'll definitely look forward to that. We'll talk off air as we do a bunch. So looking forward to it. Everybody check out that recasted podcast. That thing, I'm telling you, when I wait for your guys' stuff to come out because I do love voting for it. Jesse's been kicking your butt a lot lately, Wayne. I know you don't agree with me, but Jesse's been kicking your butt a lot. You did beat him with the Ocean's 11 one, though. I'll give you that.
I think, well, in Die Hard, I actually beat him vote-wise 37-5. So nobody liked his Die Hard cast. But the Ocean's 11, he's actually beaten me right now in Ocean's 11. But I do think, Bradley Cooper as Danny Ocean versus, who did he have as Danny Ocean again? Oh, I don't know. Somebody I wouldn't have cast. Oh, Ryan Reynolds. He had Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds, yeah. It doesn't, yeah. Ryan Reynolds is like he has to have some sort of smart ass comments, and that's just not that part. I just don't feel like
Clooney's smooth, and he's like, I don't know.
Yeah, I gotcha. All right, so check out the Recasted podcast, Wayne G. We will check you out next week, man. Appreciate you stopping in. As always, been fun. Have a good one.
Peace out.
All right, guys. So that is Wayne G. Recasted podcast. We are going to take our next break, and when we come back, I have a special surprise for you guys out there. Drew, I know you're watching. Alpha Rob, I know you're in the chat. Buck's been in the chat. Michelle's in the chat. We've got a surprise for you guys when we come back. Stay with us. 2 minutes. welcome back to the best damn sports radio show on the planet. If you're watching us on Roku TV, or if you've missed any part of the show, head over to youtube.com/man hour. Holy crap, what just happened there? youtube.com/man hour. You can check us out. You can watch us live Sunday through Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern to 10 p.m. Eastern. We've already talked about the Washington football team. We talked about their name change. We talked about how stupid it is to be forced to change your name, but not be forced to change your owner who likes to pimp out his cheerleaders. We've talked to Wayne G. We talked a lot of bunch of other stuff. But right now, got a surprise for you guys. Joining the show is none other than the college boy himself, the Wyatt Williams. What is going on, brother?
Nothing much, man. Just chilling. Got done with some stuff earlier for a group project. Got class tomorrow morning. So after this, it's bedtime. But yeah, just hanging out, man. It's 75 degrees down here. I love it.
Don't rub it in. It is -10 with the wind chill here today.
Yeah, my mom and dad have been sending me videos and stuff and pictures of Indiana, and there's like snow on the roads and stuff, and I'm just like,
yeah,
I've got green palm. I got a green palm tree literally out this window right here, like 5 feet from me. It's awesome, dude.
Have you shaved your head yet?
Huh?
Have you shaved your head yet?
No.
Oh, the locks are still flowing.
Yeah, I mean, I've got like a haircut since I've been down here and stuff, but like, no.
Yeah,
We got to keep the hair looking good. I got to get one soon. It's getting kind of long, especially on the sides, man. Once it starts hanging over the ear, and I got to tuck it like in front or behind like that.
yeah.
I don't like that. So that's when I know it's time to get the cut.
Are you directing adult films now? I see that mustache growing. Not
Yeah,
directing adult films yet?
No, not yet. At least I
Starring
have
in
like a month. No. I have like a month or so where I'm not going to be like doing anything on camera. So I was like, hey, might as well grow it out. This is the one opportunity I'll get. And then once it's time to go back on and stuff and start adding to the highlight reel for college, I'll shave it, of course. But no, I just don't know. I just let it do its thing, man.
So how's school going? School going good?
It's good. I said it. I had a goal for myself when I first came down here. I wanted all A's for the entire first semester, and I did. And I got all A's for the entire first semester.
Awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah, so
congratulations
it's
on
going
that.
really good. Thanks, buddy.
So have you been able to be keeping up on football, watching your Packers excel?
Oh, yeah. You know I have.
Yeah.
Actually, it's funny you mention that. Let me go this way so you can see it better. This plaque. Oh, how do I do it? This way. Not that one. That one right there. That one right there. You know what that is?
No.
I am an official owner of the Green Bay Packers.
Oh, so
My parents bought a stock share for me.
You've got that stock share that's worth about $2 too, then.
No. I think my parents paid. Actually, I don't know what they paid.
You pay a lot of money to get it, but there's like there was like a ESPN article or story that came out about it. How the share is actually like you don't get any say in the team. You don't get any stipend for owning the team.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. The return on investment's a little shaky.
Yeah.
But I do get invited to the annual like Packers luncheon every July, something like that. So that's what I get.
Tori for lunch.
Does Tori own a part? I didn't know if he did or not.
Yeah,
he does.
He's got stock in the team as well. So now you guys,
I'll have Tori
we've got
take me around.
two owners of the Green Bay Packers.
Yes.
Which is good because that's I'm going to talk about that in a little while here with the whole Hub Arkish versus Aaron Rodgers thing going on right now. But one thing I want to get into, have you heard about all the Antonio Brown stuff? I mean, you're right out there in Florida.
That was crazy. That was crazy.
That is crazy.
It's on every single news outlet down here.
Well, the thing that's crazy to me is that you don't know who to believe at this point, right? I mean, both sides are coming out. Antonio Brown released a statement late last night. It came out. It was very well written, which leads me to believe that he didn't actually write it and that maybe it's fake. But it was very well written. And then you've got the Bucks that came out with a statement, said that he never told anybody that his ankle was hurting him after the game. or I mean during the game, I should say. I watched the interview today with Bruce Arians. I got to tell you, man, I kind of think that I think that this is just Antonio Brown trying to get away with some stuff after feeling stupid for what he did.
Yeah, did you see where they said that if you look at their plays or whatever, that same route that they threw that ended in a touchdown for the Buccaneers to win, that was Antonio Brown's route. So if he would have stayed, he would have caught the game-winning touchdown. Of course, anything could have happened as that game went along, but he was the one who was supposed to be originally running that route that caught the touchdown pass to seal it for Tampa Bay.
Yeah,
isn't that crazy? I saw it the other day. I was like, that is wild.
It's insane. And Antonio Brown is one of those guys who his whole career has really been a troubled guy. I mean, people say it's after the perfect hit, which we've talked about as well. I don't necessarily believe that the perfect hit has caused him to act the way he acts, because he was that player as a rookie. I mean, you remember his rookie year in training camp, he was trying to fight Troy Polamalu. Like, I mean, he was doing stupid stuff his entire career.
He's definitely had some issues as time has gone on. I would say it's kind of weird though, because like you look at it, if you look at each situation, like some of them actually, like I feel like aren't his fault, and that's why I'm kind of like torn on this one, because he was saying all this stuff about the Raiders, like Gruden's a racist, all this stuff, and then come to find out the emails get released and. He said all kinds of crazy stuff. So, I don't know.
We talked about that a little bit earlier. Look, the whole Gruden thing came at a very smokescreenish type time for the Washington football team, because they haven't felt any heat since Gruden from the Raiders gets fired and the Washington football team gets swept under the rug. How does that work? This was a Washington football team problem.
Because Jay was already fired. They were trying to hide it as long as they could. I like what you said earlier, though. I agree with you. I think it's crazy how they have to change. I don't necessarily think it's crazy how they have to change their name, because I don't think we should just have a football team in the league. I mean, you have to have some kind of a mascot, I feel like. But yeah. I do find it crazy that like you're making them change their name, but you're not making them change their owner, who has literally gone on record being like everything bad that you could imagine in a person. He's probably done it.
Yeah.
Like he's pimping his cheerleaders out, all while having, he was a part of nude. Right. Right.
I just don't get it how the name offends us, but this person doesn't.
Right. No, I agree with you. I agree with you 100%.
And not only that, you looked at, some of the things that the football team has gone through. The one that I liked, and I've said this already on the show once, but the one that I liked was a buddy of mine who said, you know what, keep the name Redskins. Change the logo to a red potato.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
I mean, you keep the name, right?
Yeah.
It's not
technically, I think that would work.
Yeah, why not?
I think I don't know what name did you think they should go with?
I've only come up with funny ones. Like I've always said the NRA, Washington NRA, the not Redskins anymore.
I like, and this is actually like, this is serious. I've always wanted the Washington Monuments. Like, I just sound like that sounds good.
Yeah, to me, it's the same thing with like Cleveland, the Cleveland Guardians. Like it just, I drove past that ballpark.
I don't know even where Guardians came from. I thought that was so stupid.
They've got a bridge in Cleveland, and they've got these statues that sit on top of it in Cleveland, and they're called the Guardians, and it's the Guardian Bridge. Okay. So that's where the
lacrosse team there is the LaGuardian. Isn't it lacrosse team the Guardians?
It's like a roller derby team or something. It was crazy. But I drove past that stadium on my way to Vermont, and I saw the Guardians logo, and I kind of cringed a little bit, because I'm like, man, that is not what I want to see. But I don't understand the name changes. I don't understand what they're doing. So you like the monuments? Out of all the ones that are out there, I do like the Red Wolves the best.
What does it? Do they like have is there something with the city?
Yeah, it's something like that. I think I have no clue, to be honest with you, what the sentimental meaning behind it is. But I mean, how about you go with you got in trouble for the Redskins, keep the logo and call yourselves the Tontos. Go after a person that meant something, you know, like Chief Tonto or whatever, like the Blackhawks do. Keep your logo, you know, just make it less, I guess, racist.
It is only a matter of time before they make Chicago change their logo too.
Let me ask
How
you a
long do you
question.
think that lasts?
Who, the Blackhawks? If they ever change that logo, I promise you, there will be mail bombs. There will be mail bombs. If they
was
ever
your
touch my
question?
Blackhawks logo. Here's a serious question. What's more racist? The name Redskin or the owner Daniel Snyder?
Right. No, I think it's a good question. I think Snyder for sure. It's got to be.
I mean, for real. And if you're watching us on Roku TV and you haven't shut us off yet, just I'm telling you, this is what we're live, raw, and uncut. And the best thing about this show is we don't subscribe to the same things that other networks have to, which is the politics and the things that you know hold you back and make you say certain things, no matter what you believe. We say what we want to say. We say what we believe. We say what we feel. And there is nothing behind it as far as, you know, trust me, if you know any of us, you know that there's nothing behind it. So when we joke about stuff, when we talk about Snyder and when we talk about, you know, the Washington football name, it's the truth though. It really is the truth. When you look at things from a logic standpoint, the name change is a smokescreen. The name changes a smokescreen to be like, hey, look, we changed our name. We're no longer that team that did all these bad things, even though we have the owner now who's just going to have different cheerleaders under a different name doing the same damn thing because he gets away with it because the NFL don't care.
Yeah.
Michelle's in
It
the
all
chat.
boils down to the thing.
Michelle says,
What's up,
Wyatt, I
Michelle?
missed you.
I missed everybody too, man. I missed Michelle, Drew, Nana. You can see everybody on here at night. That was awesome.
Yeah, man. Nana's been. I was talking to Nana today on Messenger, and we were talking about, you know, obviously French toast and all the stuff that, you know, she likes to do on the weekends. But we were also talking about, you know, how she's been missing, but she's also got all sorts of things going on. So her sleep schedule's been off, so she hasn't been on the show.
Yeah.
But she's still watching the show. She was talking to me about things we were talking about, you know, last night on the show, even though she wasn't in the chat. She watches the show while she's at work. She watches the show in her free time. She still keeps tabs on us, so it's always good to hear. So Nana, if you're out there listening and you hear Wyatt on the radio now, or you see Wyatt on Roku TV, we love you, Nana. We really do. And I was just joking about French toast, unless you're going to make me some.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, Wyatt, you know you missed us.
I
Well,
did.
me.
I missed you guys big time. Yeah, where's Buck texted me this last night and was like, hey, I'm gonna call you in the morning. I'm like, okay, all right, sounds good. I never got a call, and I asked him, I was like, are you on the show? He's like, well, I work nights now at Ford, so no. And I'm like, oh dang. And then I'm like, oh, is Tori on? And I was like, oh no, Tori's not on either. I was like, is it literally just Combs?
Yeah, I've been doing solos all week, and it's going to continue. I think Soup Boss is going to be joining me on Sundays. We've got a guest on Mondays, a guest on Tuesdays, a guest on Wednesdays. We do have some, and after the show, I'll talk to you about it. We've got some really cool interviews lined up. I've been talking with a former Major League Baseball player.
Nice.
Soup Boss has a former NFL player. And I'll talk to you about that after the show. I don't want to spoil any of the surprises. I don't want to do anything until we're confirmed to have these interviews.
All right.
But we've got a lot of good stuff happening here. We got the Roku TV now that we're on the Northeast Streaming Sports Network on Roku TV every Monday through Friday, 10 to noon. Great plug right there. Great plug right there. If you're watching us on Roku TV, head over to the youtube.com/Man Hour. You can subscribe for as little as $2.99 a month. Become a member of Man Hour Nation. Then you can head over to manhour.com. You get yourself some merchandise, man. We got all sorts of stuff. Have you seen all the BC stuff that we got up there yet, Wyatt?
No.
Oh, dude, we got so story behind. Did you never hear the Beastie story? So there was a girl at work who when Buck would introduce me as BC,
that's right. She thought they were saying
Right.
Beastie.
So
Yeah,
we
I
made
remember you
some
telling me
gear,
that.
we made some gear out of it. It actually came out really nice. We've got phone cases. Now look at my iPhone phone case, man.
Oh, geez, I didn't even know we had those.
Hell yeah. So we
I gotta
got all
get one.
sorts of stuff. So we've got check out the shop. We've got all sorts of good stuff. And if you're listening right now, Drew, Michelle, Alpha Rob in the chat. It looks like we got a bunch of viewers going on right now. If you're watching right now, submit your favorite name for the Washington football team. You can make one up. It could be funny. It could be a good one. It could be one that's realistic, or it could be one that's far-fetched, like my Not Redskins anymore, the Washington NRA. I will pick the best one at the end of the show, and that one person will win a Man Hour Beastie winner hat. So go ahead, get your submissions in, and we will get you there. As Drew says, I got the Beastie beanie. Hey, that is awesome. That is awesome. But so we were talking about Antonio Brown. We got a little bit of sidetracked there, as we tend to do on the show. Got a little bit sidetracked there. But Antonio Brown, there's been two sides of the story. I kind of believe the Tampa Bay Bucks over Antonio Brown. It sounds like you believe the Bucks too. Wyatt?
Yeah, I would say I believe the Bucks more, but I'm still kind of torn. I don't know. It's such a weird situation because like I could see Bruce Arians, saying something like that, being like, hey, if you don't get in there, you're done, because he's an old school kind of guy, wouldn't put up with something like what Antonio Brown was doing. And I can also kind of see Antonio being a little bit of a crybaby about stuff and being a little crazy, because we've seen that before multiple times.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I guess I'm more on the Tampa Bay side, but at the same time, I just kind of I could see both sides for sure.
Do you think that the NFL is going to investigate this at all?
No, probably not.
Yeah, I don't think so
I
either.
doubt it. I doubt it. I
care?
bet they just try and move on I bet they just try and move on as quick as possible, because they don't want more acts up like this.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I think a really interesting question though is, are we going to see Antonio Brown on another team? Is there another team that trusts him after this?
You can't bring him onto your team knowing what the Bucks, even if the Bucks were sort of in the wrong here, even if they did try to make him play with an injury, the way he reacted to that,
right?
You can't bring that on your team. And not only that, if he was upset because they were trying to make him play injured, why do you want to bring him on your team if he's injured?
That's true. Yeah, I don't think that anybody will bring him on this year, but I'm not gonna lie. I think he played good enough this year that he could get brought onto a team next year. I don't know.
The Washington football team will pick him up.
Maybe. I don't know. It's so weird because like it seemed like everything was going so good between them, and then just like over the last 3 weeks, crap just hit the fan. Like it just exploded and went sideways. It's so weird because it just seemed like he was so happy there. He had figured out what he wanted now. He was, he was under the, what is it? The Tom Brady way. He was a part of that and all that stuff. So like, I don't know. It's just weird. Like it seemed like he was so devoted and in on it, and that this was a big thing for them. But then over the last couple of weeks with him trying to come back from this injury, I think it had to do with that. And I think also part of it could have been that like Bruce Arians was kind of tired of dealing with this issue. So that's another reason why I kind of feel like Bruce might have snapped and said something. But yeah, it's just weird because it was like everything was so fine and peachy, and then all of a sudden it's just like all hell's broke loose. It makes no sense.
Is this enough of a distraction to stop Tampa from winning a Super Bowl?
I don't think it's enough of a See, it's just like it's Tom Brady. Like you can't really like there's not. I don't think there is such a thing that can distract Tom Brady. Do I think that this is going to be one of his more challenging years to make it to the Super Bowl and win it? Yeah, I really do. I think that the NFC is stacked. I think his team, not because of, not that they're not good enough. I just think that they've got too many injuries. The fact that Godwin's going to be out, Mike Evans isn't 100%. You just lost Antonio Brown. There's just a lot of injuries surrounding that team. Leonard Fournette's out too, right? There's just like, there's so many injuries right now just surrounding that team to where I don't know if you could, I don't want to say that he can't because it's Tom Brady and he could, pretty much do anything. But yeah, I think it's definitely going to be one of his more challenging years. But no, I don't think it's too much of a distraction for Brady. He's definitely. I mean, you got to think about it. He's had Aaron Hernandez on his team before. While Rob Gronkowski is not a bad person, he's a huge distraction because he's a big party boy. You know, Rob is Rob.
Did they win the Super Bowl the year that Hernandez went to prison? I feel like they did.
I think they
feel
did.
like
Yeah.
they did.
If they didn't do it that year, they did it the next or the year after. Like it was within 3 years or 2 years or a year of it happening.
Yeah.
So I know it happened at some point.
So
because what was it? Go ahead.
I'm not sure it's going to create a big enough distraction for the team. If anything, Brady will find a way to let it propel the team as opposed to distract them like he did with the comeback in the same game where they were losing to the damn Jets. But I don't think it will. I think it's Tom Brady. Brady's Tom Brady, and that's just enough. That's enough for me. So I don't think it'll become enough distraction.
Yeah, I also kind of think that, like, you know, Brady flourishes so well when he's an underdog. He is the ultimate underdog. Like, there's never been a better underdog candidate ever in any sport, like, ever. So, like, I also kind of, like, as a Packers fan, and, like, I'm sure other NFC team fans that their team's going to make the playoffs, I'm sure they would agree that, like, if anything, this worries you more because it's just, like, it seems like when Tom has high expectations is normally when they slip. You know what I mean? Or whenever they kind of falter because they've never done it 2 years in a row. So normally when they have those high hopes and stuff like that, it always kind of gets a little shaky. But when Tom is the underdog, that's when he flourishes. Like that's whenever you see him really come alive. I mean, the fact that he was down 28-3 in a Super Bowl in the third quarter against the second best team in the NFL, the fact that he pulled that off all in itself is a miracle. So it's like, you know, I would say it kind of worries me more than anything because we're beginning to, you know, just like last year, we're beginning to kind of put him back in that underdog phase. You know, like Aaron's going to win MVP, and then, you know, it's just going to seem like, you know, Tom takes that personal, puts a chip on his shoulder, and goes nuts through the playoffs like he always does. So that's honestly, I'd say it's more worrisome than it is, you know, that it's going to distract them because there's nothing that distracts Tom Brady. I feel like you could sit in the stands and point a laser in his eye while he's trying to throw the football, and he's still gonna win games. He's still gonna go on through the playoffs and beat a lot of people. He's just that good.
Yeah. So I mean, I agree with you. He's Tom Brady. I never bet against Tom Brady. If you do bet against Tom Brady, let me know. Give me a call because I will take that bet any day of the week. Let's get to some games. We're getting into week 18 here. It's the last show of the week. So I want to get into the final week of the season. We've got a lot of play. So we had an interesting stat. We do an interesting stat of the day. It's one of the new things we do now, Wyatt, is at the beginning of the show, we give the crazy stat of the day, right? Like mine was today, people say baseball is a boring sport. But did you know that in every Major League Baseball game, there's a different possibility of 12,345,374 different plays that could happen during a game?
That's actually crazy.
But
I believe it. I mean, it all depends on where the ball goes.
Right, exactly.
You never see the same thing twice.
One of the crazy stats that we had yesterday was that in the NFC, the Eagles, who are is it the NFC or the AFC? Now I'm confused here. I believe
Eagles
it was in
the
NFC. Yep. No, I know the Eagles are in the NFC. I was trying to see what which one it was. Yeah, it is. It's the NFC. So the Eagles are the 7th seed, and they've clinched a playoff spot. The 6th seed is the San Francisco 49ers. They have not clinched a playoff spot.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's wild. It's wild, isn't it?
it's absolutely crazy. So we've got playoff spots that are up for grabs. We've got the 49ers or the Saints in the NFC can make a playoff spot. Kudos to me because I won the last dab challenge. So I think that's why Tori has not been on a show in over 2 weeks, is because he is afraid to do the last dab challenge. Now that he has to do it,
what ended up? What's the Saints record?
They're 8.
They won 8 games.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm glad I didn't take that back. I felt like they were going to win right around 8.
I gave Tori a chance after, or actually, Tori gave me a chance after my guy Jameis
Winston
went
went
down, he's like, "Do you want to just nullify the bet?" I was like, "No." I said, "You know what? We'll keep it going. They're going to win 8 games." He's like, "All right." And now they won 8 games, so Torrey's got to do the
man.
last dab. But I haven't seen him for 2 weeks now, and I think that's why.
Yikes!
But in
He's
the AFC, we've got the Colts. If they win, they're in. And if they win, the Steelers and Ravens are out.
Okay.
Steelers play the Ravens this weekend.
So that's
they
pretty
have
much
a chance to win if the
yeah.
Jaguars get in. But the crazy one is if the Jaguars find a way to beat the Colts and the Chargers and Raiders who play each other on Sunday Night Football, if they tie, both of those teams are in. So
They should make a pact. They should make a
That's
pact.
what I
Like,
said.
hey,
I
look,
said, and it's not just take knees. I don't want to see him take knees, but just play it like it's the Pro Bowl. Don't play defense. Just throw the ball freaking downfield. Let's see a 55-55 tie. Let's see something fun at least. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know it would, disgrace the integrity of the game, but let's face it, the NFL has no integrity. So who cares?
Right. Where's the integrity anyway? It's like it's not like it's there.
Yeah, exactly. So I had a friend who was a Steelers fan, said if that's the way that the Steelers got eliminated from the playoffs after the Jaguars beat the Colts and the Steelers beat the Ravens, he said he would lay down in traffic. He's like, I will lay down in traffic if that's how they get eliminated. And
What do you? I meant to ask you this since I'm on here. I got a friend down here who's actually from Chicago too. And so we have our heated debates like me and you used to. What do you think about Jim Harbaugh coming in?
I think it's kind of a pipe dream. What are you going to give Jim Harbaugh to go away from that 10-year, $100 million contract that he just got?
Well, he already said something about it at halftime, didn't he, of the Michigan game? Where he said something about this could be his last game at Michigan. I saw it. It could be totally off and it could be clickbait, but I saw something on.
I think it's clickbait. Because
I'm sure it probably is. But I saw something the other day that said that he said something at halftime that this could be his last game in Michigan or something, and that something like that. I don't know.
Yeah,
probably clickbait though.
Yeah, it's probably clickbait. I've heard that he does want to come back to the NFL. I just don't know that the Bears have enough to give him. Now, what I've heard with the Bears is, and this has been the top, which it scares me because it's something the Bears would be stupid enough to do, and that is that they're going to fire Matt Nagy, but they're going to keep Ryan Pace, but put him in as the president of football operations and hire a new GM. So you're going to fire the guy who didn't do a good enough job to keep his job, and you're going to give him a raise, make him above somebody, and let him pick another guy to work under him.
If the Bears are smart, Pace will be out of there, Nagy will be out of there, and Eric Bieniemy and some other GM will come in. Bieniemy, whoever gets Bieniemy is getting the best head coach of this upcoming. I guess you would say coach free agency or whatever.
I would love to see Bieniemy. I would love to see just an offensive guy. One of the things that I've heard passed around through people in Chicago sports media who I talk to is the thought of Sean Payton and the Bears making a trade to get Sean Payton. Now, question, I don't think it's realistic because to me, you're going to have to give up a couple of first round picks, right? And you already don't have a first round pick this
trade?
Year. Yeah.
Can you do that?
Yeah. And you already don't have absolutely. I can't remember the last one that was traded for. I can't remember the last coach that was traded for.
I know you could trade for a coach. I had no clue.
Yeah.
What do you give up for something like that? I've never even heard of this. It's
going to have to be first round draft. I mean, for Sean Payton, you're going to give a first round draft pick.
Oh, well, I'm sure like for a guy like him, you're giving up at least 3.
The problem is the Bears don't have a first round draft pick this year or next year because they got Justin Fields.
Yeah. And
if you give up another couple of first round draft, so now you got a team that needs some help on the offensive line, is going to need some help, on the defensive side of the ball for the guys who are getting a little bit older. But you don't have any first round draft picks for the next 5 years if you get Sean Payton. Makes no sense. I wouldn't do it if I'm the Bears.
True.
Look, I love Sean Payton.
Totally
I would love to see him as a Bears head coach, but it just doesn't make sense as an organization to do that. But the Bears are stupid, so they might do it.
They very well might. Do you still think that Aaron is leaving at the end of the year?
To be honest with you, I don't care. Like I really don't. Like I don't think it matters. I think if the Bears bring in the right head coach, they bring in the right general manager, we're going to compete with the Green Bay Packers anyway. And I would much rather find a way to compete with the Green Bay Packers and beat them while they have Aaron Rodgers than to just wait for Aaron Rodgers to retire or get traded or leave as a free agent and then because to me it'd be more fun to beat the Green Bay Packers with Aaron Rodgers. And so I actually hope he doesn't leave.
You would like that.
But I don't know. He's hard to read. He's a diva.
He is. He's hard to read. I'm kind of at a point where like I don't think he leaves. I'm just like, and this could totally be the Packers fan coming out of me.
It is,
but it's just like he just, yeah. I'm sure it is. But it's just like he seems. I've been watching Green Bay Packer football since the last year, the first year of Aaron Rodgers. So that's really when I got on board. I watched like half the last season of Brett Favre. Yeah. So I've been able to watch Aaron his entire time that he's been the starting quarterback. And it's just like, even during our 15-1 season where we were supposed to do something crazy, but Eli Manning and the Giants had other plans. Even during that year, it just seems like he's so happy right now. He's happier than he's ever been. Honestly, I think Davante is going to be the deciding factor. I think if him and Davante get together and they're like, hey, look, let's stay here. Let's do this. Like, I feel like that would be the kind of say all end all. I also feel like if we win the Super Bowl, where are they going to go? Like, where are you going to go that has a better shot?
Super Bowl, like they're going to win the NFC title game. Come on now. We both know they're going to get to the NFC title game, and it seemed like the Arizona Cardinals are going to walk into Lambeau Field and pull something off, and they're going to beat the Green Bay Packers again. Because the Green Bay Packers, unless they're playing the Chicago Bears, they cannot win the NFC title game.
Yeah, we've got a really bad problem of doing that, for sure, and it's heartbreaking. And if I witness it again, it's just like it's kind of crazy because we've got so this is week 18. There's no way they play Aaron this week, and if they do, they'll play him for a quarter. I hope they don't play him at all because let his toe rest. Like he's been hurting bad enough. Give the guy 2 weeks off. Let him be completely fresh and healthy for that divisional round game. Because I get it. People are going to argue like, oh, what if you give him too much time off? Like we don't lose.
When he got stepped on and then on the next play got kicked by his own player, like I was like, oh my God, this guy's gonna this guy's gonna go down soon.
Imagine having a broken toe and Imagine having a broken toe and 2 300-pound linemen step on it back to back.
You're going to get a first round bye if you're the Green Bay Packers. So you rest Aaron this week, you rest him next week. You have his broken toe rested for 2 weeks, and then you bring him back. Like there's no reason to play him against the Detroit Lions. Even if the Detroit Lions beat you, it doesn't mean anything to anybody except for maybe a couple of Detroit Lions fans who are going to be like, "Yay, we beat the Packers." It does not matter. But let's get into some of these games, Wyatt. Let's pick these games here. We've got Kansas City at Denver. Who you got winning this game?
I think Kansas City
now, too. This game means something.
I still think Kansas City. I mean, you said it's at Denver, so it's at Mile High.
It's at Denver, yeah.
Okay, yes. I mean, that adds a little bit to it, but it's just like the Chiefs have been on such a roll here recently. Dude, I love it. Like week 6, everybody's freaking out. They're like, I saw so many sports memes that were like, people said that these guys would get figured out. And it shows
Buck posted hashtag bench Mahomes.
No. Too many people just freaked out. They're like, the Chiefs are sold. They're gone. I'm like, this is a team that's went to the Super Bowl the last 2 years. They've got Patrick Mahomes, they've got Tyreek Hill, they've got Travis Kelce, Tyrann Mathieu on defense, Chris Jones, like Hitchens, so many weapons on this team. You've got arguably the greatest coaching staff in football. Like, they're going to be a team. They're going to be a team. Just give them a minute. They're in a little bit of a rut. They're in a little bit of a bind, just like when the Packers lost week 1 to the Saints and all 9 kinds of hell broke loose. Every time I get on there, I see every media outlet. They're like, oh, the Green Bay Packers are washed. It's over. Aaron Rodgers is done. He might as well leave now. Jordan Love is going to start week 2. All of this crap. I'm like, just chill. It's okay. Give it some time. So, rounding all the way around now, I had to involve the Green Bay Packers there. You see what I mean? Rounding all the way around, give me Kansas City. they're going to coast, and they're going to be a mean team in the playoffs that nobody's going to want to play. They're a good team, and I think they have another shot at making it to the Super Bowl, a real shot.
Here's what's going to happen, and I'm going to tell you why in a few minutes here, and we're going to culminate it in a few minutes. Denver is going to beat Kansas City because Denver beats Kansas City in Denver all the time. Denver just beats Kansas City all the time. And for whatever reason, Kansas City cannot beat Denver. And that's
it seems like Kansas City on the road in their division is always like when they play the worst.
Yeah, it's going to remain true this week. Denver is going to beat Kansas City. Chiefs fans are going to freak out again because their Chiefs have lost 2 in a row and they're heading into the playoffs and they can't beat anybody. Denver's going to beat Kansas City. I'm going with Denver. So then we got Dallas, Philadelphia. Who you got?
Dallas, Philly, I think that's such an interesting game because it's a huge rivalry. Philly's already clinched the spot. Dallas has already clinched the division, right? Philly cannot win the division, right? Even if they win this?
Yeah.
They can or they can't?
No, they can't. They can't.
They can't? Okay, yeah. Honestly, I would be surprised if we even see a lot of starters in for a long time because this game doesn't mean much. Mostly from Dallas. I could see that's why I'm saying I think Philly is trying to climb to that 6th seed, get some kind have to play somebody other than right out the gate have to play Green Bay or something like that.
Well, it means something to Dallas now though, because if Tampa Bay or LA find a way to lose, and LA could absolutely lose to San Francisco. San Francisco's vying for a playoff spot, and the last time they played LA, they beat them 31-10. So that could be a real possibility. So Dallas has a chance to move up in the standings if they win the game and one of those two teams loses.
I don't know. Philly's on fire right now, though. I like watching them play. Jalen Hurts has really been picking it up. Devonta Smith's been picking it up. That defense looks completely different. So yeah, I'll take Philly. And plus Dallas won earlier this year and had a statement win. There's no way they have another statement win. I think Philly claims this one. Normally they split anyways.
I think Dallas is going to win because it matters more to Dallas than it does to Philly. Philly's locked into the 7th seed no matter what they do. They could win, and if the New Orleans Saints get the extra playoff spot over the San Francisco 49ers, they jump ahead of the Philadelphia Eagles. So this game does not matter to the Philadelphia Eagles. It does matter to the Dallas Cowboys. I think the Dallas Cowboys are going to win this game. I think they're going to play their starters. I think they're going to win. We move on to Sunday's matchups. We got the Cincinnati Bengals at the Cleveland Browns. Who you got?
This is one of those two where I don't think the Bengals have already said they're not going to play their starters. So I think Cleveland is trying to get some kind of a good look on the end of the year. Baker Mayfield is trying to get himself another contract because as of right now, it does not look like he's going to get another contract from the Cleveland Browns. He might though. I mean, that's kind of a Browns kind of move, So that would make sense. But no, I think Cleveland because, since he's not going to play, Burrow is not going to be out there. And if he is, he's out there for a quarter. They've already said Boyd's not going to play. They've already said Higgins isn't going to play and Jamar Chase is not going to play. Mixon's out. So they're literally that's their 5 best offensive playmakers. And I think they're playing a couple of their linemen just to get some snaps in. And then so yeah, I'll take Cleveland because they're out of it. So they want to get some kind of a win at the end of the year and close on a good note to look forward to next year and try and convince us all that next year is the year. So yeah, I got Cleveland.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Cincinnati. Cleveland finds a way to screw things like this up. I think Baker Mayfield's already shooting commercials somewhere. I think the Cincinnati Bengals find a way to win this game. They win and Kansas City loss, coupled with that Kansas City loss, put Cincinnati up to the 2 seed. And Joe Burrows wins MVP.
No way. Stop.
Why?
He did not play good enough throughout the year.
What are you talking about? He's got similar numbers to Aaron Rodgers.
He played great at the end of the year. He played incredible at the end of the year. I love Joe Burrow. He played great at the end of the year. But Aaron literally has been on a roll. Even when we lose, except for week 1, he has looked exceptional. Aaron Rodgers is the best player in the National Football League this year, and it is not close. If he is out, this Packers team, you're hearing this right now, this Packers team is a 7-win team at best. At best. If he's not in there, there is no way we're the 1 seed.
What do you think the Bengals are without Joe Burrow?
I mean, I'm not saying that they wouldn't make the playoffs without him, but they aren't the number 1 seed in the NFL. They aren't the number 1 seed even in their own conference. They barely won their own division. I just and Burrow only played good for the second half of the year.
For a 2 seed without Joe Burrow?
No, I really don't. But I also don't. But I think that I think that they've got a ton of incredible wide receiver core, as does the Packers. I just think if you take Aaron Rodgers off of the Green Bay Packers, they are a worse team than if you take Burrow off of the Cincinnati Bengals.
I don't think you're watching the games.
I am watching.
What are you talking about? He hasn't been consistent.
I watched his 500-yard game the other night. I literally watched it.
Yes, he had a 500-yard game. He had a 446-yard game against the Chiefs with 4 touchdowns. Earlier in the season, this man has almost 1,000 more yards passing than Aaron Rodgers. Did you know that?
Yeah, his stats look great.
Did you know Aaron Rodgers' passer rating is 111.1? Joe Burrow's is a 108.3. His completion percentage is 70% to Aaron Rodgers' 68%. This man has taken the Cincinnati Bengals to fight for a 2 seed and win the AFC North.
He's done great things. And I love Joe Burrow.
MVP.
No, he's great.
You're
second
out
place,
of your mind.
He's a great, and next year he'll be
out of your mind.
Justin Herbert will probably claim MVP next year. I think Brady's more of actually. No, I take that back. I think he's 3. I think Brady is the 2. I think it's Aaron, Brady, then Burrow.
It's Burrow, then Aaron, then Brady.
Oh no,
you're crazy. Think about it. Look at the numbers and think his numbers are better than Brady's. Picture that.
His numbers. Joe Burrow has incredible numbers. That's
his numbers are comparable to Aaron Rodgers and better in some categories. He is the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals. Preseason, did you pick the Bengals to win the division?
No, I had them second, though. I did have them second.
Preseason, did you pick the Bengals to be in the top 3 in the AFC?
No, I did not. I had them making the playoffs, but I did not have them top 3.
Preseason, did you pick the Green Bay Packers to win the NFC North?
Yes, I did. I picked them to be 14-3.
So they did exactly what you thought they would do. Did you pick them to be a top 3 team in the NFC? So they're doing exactly what you thought they would do. And Joe Burrow has elevated the Cincinnati Bengals.
Oh my God.
To something nobody thought they would be. That is the exact definition of most valuable player.
He is. Hey, I think Burrow's great. I think he's awesome on paper. He's got a ton of great stats. He's had 2 awesome games. I just think that everybody's overreacting to the fact that he had a mediocre beginning of the year.
I'm gonna punch you in the throat.
His first 8 weeks are like above average, but they're not great. Aaron has one bad week.
His passer rating week 1 was a 128.8. His week His week 3 was a 122.9. His week 4 was a 132.8. Then he had a 115.7, a 113.5, a 102.5. He did have a bad game against the Browns that has 69 passer rating. Then he went to a 92.3, 96.2, 125.6, 103.8, 143.2, 148.0. What are you talking about? Get out of here. Just because you're a homer and you want your guy to win the damn trophy does not mean that it's
care about MVP. Fact. I want a Super Bowl. I don't care about MVP.
It's the only trophy Aaron Rodgers knows how to win.
Oh my God.
All right. Moving on. Green Bay at Detroit. Who you got? Let me guess. Green Bay.
Actually, no, honestly, I don't know because none of our guys are going to be playing. It's one of those weird games. And the Lions always play us close. So I could see the Lions going out with a win here and trying to find a way to screw up that number 1 overall pick. I honestly would not be surprised. I think this is a look ahead into the future, possibly with, because Love will be playing for most of the game. So it's I think we get a nice look into the future, but I don't know if we win. I really don't. Amon-Ra St. Brown has been playing out of his mind here recently. Out of his mind. He has got, you ready for this statistic I saw the other day? I'm gonna name you a list of NFL rookie wide receivers that have at least 8 catches over, I think it's 10 games of their rookie year. You ready for me to name you that list?
Sure.
Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. He's the only one ever. I swear, like
Okay.
seriously, so many people don't look at him as like this great wide receiver, and they've started using him as
Jamar
like a
Chase
Cordero
hasn't
Patterson
gotten there?
type of thing. No, I don't think so. No, he didn't. He had a bunch of yardage, but he didn't have the receptions numbers.
Oh, okay.
He has more yardage. He has way more yardage actually, but they've started using him too at like running back. I really like what they're doing. It's kind of like a Cordero Patterson type thing where NFL teams are starting to realize that if you've got a great playmaker that you need the ball in their hands, why not just put them at running back as well and put them at wide receiver, put them, everywhere that you can, kind of like what the Falcons do with Cordero Patterson. So I don't know. I mean, they've got a lot of decent playmakers, and this is a team that like, I don't know. I mean, like they've actually won this year, so they can do it. And what would be more Lions than them screwing themselves out of the first overall pick? What would be a more Lions thing to do?
They're already
what I
not
mean? Like
getting
what
the first overall pick. They're already
They
out
are?
of the running
I thought
for
they
the
were number
first
one.
overall pick. No.
How many wins do they
Are
have?
they? They've-
No, they
I
can't
thought
be. They only got one
worked
win.
themselves up. No, they've got
No,
two
they've got
wins. They
one
won
win
last
and one
week.
tie.
What?
They beat? Did they? Okay, well then they've got 2 wins and a tie. They're up there. I can look this up.
Yeah, they're
NFL
2-13
the Jags are the only
2-13-1. They're 2-13
they're 2-13-1, right?
Jacksonville's 2-14-0. Jaguars aren't beating the Colts, and I'm picking the Lions in this
I don't
game
know.
as well.
Have you seen the Colts have not won a game in Jacksonville in the last like
The Jaguars are not
4
beating the
years?
Colts. The Jaguars are not beating the Colts. Dude,
I don't know, man.
I hope it happens. I hope it happens because I want the chaos. Because if the Colts lose and then if the
All hell
Colts lose,
breaks
they're
loose in the
out.
league.
If the Colts lose, they're out. Then it's the
Yeah.
winner of the Steelers and the Browns is in, and the winner of the Chargers and Raiders is in. It's absolute chaos. We're gonna wonder whether all day long whether or not we're gonna watch the Chargers and Raiders actually play football, or if they're just gonna sit on the sidelines and let the clock run. It's going to
Right.
be complete chaos. I want the Jaguars to beat the Colts. I'm not gonna pick them to beat the Colts. I just don't think it's gonna happen.
Honestly, I don't either. But I'm just saying, man, it's crazy. If you look at the stats, Jacksonville gives the Colts trouble at home all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. I mean, I think it's like they haven't won a game at Jacksonville, I'm pretty sure, since like 2016, 2017.
Yeah.
Something like that. It's been 4 or 5 years since they've won a game in Jacksonville. So I don't know. I could see some kind of a crazy upset like that.
All right, so we're running close on time limit here. Let's keep going. Run down the list. Just give me one word answers. Pick your winner. Bears,
All right.
Vikings.
Give me the Bears.
I'm gonna go with the Bears too because they do stupid stuff like win extra games when they don't matter.
Right.
Washington versus the New York Football Giants.
Washington. I think Giants are just they're on
Yeah.
the third, fourth string quarterback now.
I'm gonna take the Washington football team as well because the Giants head coach is crying about they're not a Mickey Mouse organization. Colts or Jaguars?
I'll go Colts. It's gonna be a close
going-
game though.
I'm
I think it'll
going
be close.
Colts
I think it'll be
too.
a close game.
I think
Go
Jonathan
Colts.
Taylor runs for 400 yards. I'm
I
going
hope he
Colts.
does. I need that in my fantasy league. I need that.
Why is your fantasy league still playing into the final week of the season?
We
That is
play week
stupid.
17 and week 18 is the championship. I
That is
hate ending it
dumb.
early.
That
No,
is-
it's not.
What do you mean?
gotta-
Half of your starters
you
are
gotta earn
sitting.
You gotta earn it. All
That
right,
is
that's why it's draft
stupid.
strategy. You
I
can't
would
just have
ask
the
for
best
my-
players.
Did you have to pay for this league?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, if
Ask
free
for your
league,
money
that's
back.
fine. Yeah, I'd ask for my money back. Steelers, Ravens.
That's such a good one. This is tough. I'm gonna say somehow, some way, I think Big Ben might find a way to squeeze into the playoffs. The Steelers have been playing good the last couple weeks, and TJ Watt's only 3 sacks away from the record. I think he gets it
Yeah.
this week. I think Najee runs like crazy. What do you have? 190 something rushing yards last year, 180. I mean,
Yeah.
he helped me. Thank you in fantasy. So yeah, I'll take the Steelers on a wild one.
I'm going Steelers as well. When the Ravens were 8-3, I sat here as our guy Graham had them in the top 2 of his power rankings. I said they're 8-3 and they're not going to win another game for the rest of the season. They have not won another game since then, and they're not going to win this one. I'm going Steelers. Titans, Texans.
Imagine that. Crazy. Titans, because Derrick Henry comes back and just goes crazy
Yeah, I'm going
and
Titans
scares
too.
the entire AFC.
Derrick Henry breaks the record set by our guy Jonathan Taylor earlier in the day and runs for 600 yards and not 400. I'm going to go with the Titans as well. Saints, Falcons.
Let's go Saints.
I'm going Saints too. People have counted them out all year. I think that the Rams beat the 49ers and the Saints beat the Falcons, and the Saints get into the playoffs.
That'd be crazy. That would be
Jets
crazy.
and Bills.
Imagine with no Drew Brees.
Yeah.
Oh man, Jets Bills. No, I'm just kidding. The Bills aren't sitting anybody, are they?
No, they're going
full
they have
guns
to win to
a-blazing.
win the division.
Oh, or
If
else
they,
the Pats
if they
win.
lose
That's
and the
right.
Pats win, the Pats
That's
win the division.
right.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I got Bills then. Bills are going to absolutely win by like 50 points. Like it's going to be like 53-6.
Bills are putting up
It's
a
gonna be
70
stupid.
burger.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Rams, Niners. Niners need a playoff spot. Rams want the 2
This
seed.
is going to be a good game.
It's gonna be the best game of the day.
Really, oh yeah, this is gonna be a really good game. The Rams have had so much unfortunate stuff go on as the year went on. They had that big loss to the Cardinals, where everybody all of a sudden made them like they weren't for real anymore, and they've clawed their way back to the top. I will give them that. So I will take the Rams in a overtime possibly game, a close one.
I'm taking the Rams 2 in a close one. Rams get the 2 seed. Niners are out. Saints are in. Pats, Dolphins.
Is it in Miami?
Yes.
Ooh, even touchdown Tommy couldn't win at Hard Rock. He struggled in Miami.
Pats need a
'Cause they're
win
not
and a
used to
Bills
playing
loss
in the
to win
heat.
the division.
Yeah, they're not used to playing in the heat like this, and it's hot down here still. I mean, it's 70 plus degrees down here.
Miami is a sneaky hard place to play because the in the late games the Dolphins their sideline is in the shade and the visitor sideline is in the sun.
Yeah. With that being said, though, after giving it some thought, Mac Jones is a dog.
Dude, he is.
He's a dude.
He's so good.
He's a dude. He's a dude. I'll take the
going
Pats.
I'm going Dolphins.
Give me the Pats.
I'm going Dolphins. Seahawks, Cardinals.
Go Fins. Give me
Seahawks,
Russell
Cardinals.
Wilson in his last game ever in Seattle. He goes crazy and says farewell to the city.
I'm going
Seattle
Cardinals.
surprises.
I'm going Cardinals because they're trying to win the division. They need a Rams loss and a win to win the division. Panthers, Bucks.
Bucks. Even through injury and stuff, I still think they're just too high powered.
Yeah, I'm going Bucks. They are playing for playoff positioning. Brady is not going to let them take a day off. I'm going Bucks.
Yeah.
Chargers, Raiders. This could be for the final playoff spot in the AFC.
Man, the Raiders have fought through so much adversity throughout this year, whether if it was, off the field stuff, on the field stuff, their coach, like everything that could have, the fact that they are here fighting for a playoff spot is a win all in itself. But I am having it all end in heartbreak. Give me the Chargers.
I hope it
Jay
does.
Jay Herbo is just crazy.
Yeah. I'm going with the Chargers as well. I don't like the Nate Hobbs thing, getting a DUI on Monday, being allowed to play on Sunday because you're playing for a playoff spot, because the NFL doesn't care. That is what I'm going with.
A little bit.
So you have got school starting up again. You're starting to trend up, so we probably won't see you. Give us your Super Bowl winner real quick.
Two reasons. You're going to mute me, 1. 2, I'm not saying it.
Why?
I'm not putting that bad juju. I'm not putting that bad juju out in the air. We lose in the NFC Championship every year.
You're
I ain't
picking
doing
the
it.
Packers to win the Super Bowl?
I'm not saying
It doesn't matter what you're picking. You're right. I am going to mute you, Wyatt, because you're back. And I love you. Man Hour Nation, rise up.